Many years ago, the legendary country singer and songwriter Tom T. Hall penned and sang a little ditty called I Like Beer. Don't worry, I'm not going to torment you guys by singing it. However, I will quote some lines from the chorus, and they went like this: I like beer, it makes me a jolly good fellow. Tom T would finish off the chorus with the phrase, whiskey's too rough, champagne costs too much, vodka puts my mouth in gear. This little refrain should help me explain that, as a matter of fact, I like beer. Well, not only did Tom T. Hall like beer, Americans from then till now love beer. Absolutely adore it. As a matter of fact, you could make an argument that after baseball, drinking beer is the national pastime. However, there is currently no joy in Mudville, as Americans are quite upset about the fact that a grifting trans activist is interfering with their love of drinking beer. We'll explain all that in just 1 second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. Now, in case you haven't heard about this yet, it was reported in early April, just a few days ago, that Anheuser-Busch has entered into a marketing agreement with TikTok star and trans activist Dylan Mulvaney. Now, when the news broke, particularly given the day on which it happened, everybody thought this was an April Fool's joke, but not so much. I'll take you to an article from the Post Millennial, and this was reported in many other venues, by the way, so it's not exclusive to the Post Millennial. Headline: Bud Light makes special can to celebrate Dylan Mulvaney's 365 days of girlhood. Bud Light has printed cans with Mulvaney's likeness in celebration of Mulvaney pretending to be a girl for a full year. So we get into the article, and it reads as follows. Is this an April Fool's joke? We're not sure, but it appears that trans TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney is the latest spokesperson for Bud Light. Mulvaney released an ad in the style of the usual TikToks talking about the beer and March Madness. Mulvaney joked about March Madness and not knowing what sport that was about while wearing an updo and a gown. Bud Light has presented cans with Mulvaney's likeness in celebration of Mulvaney's 365 Days of Girlhood project. The celebration signifies that Mulvaney, a grown adult male, has been pretending to be a girl for an entire year. Now, I'm going to play the video that was posted, and you can decide for yourself what it means and whether or not you have a reaction to it, and if so, what it may be. So take a listen to this.
Hi! Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate. This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
In the words of that old country comedian Ron White, things that make you go, "Buh." But we'll get back to the video.
Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too. Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too. Okay. Love ya. Okay, break a leg. Woo!
Okay, now that we've gotten through that, I've got so many thoughts about all this, and I will do my best to break them down for you. My beef in all of this is not even with Dylan Mulvaney, Trust me, I've got thoughts about Mulvaney, and one of these days I'll probably put them all down in another video. But for right now, suffice it to say that I find Dylan Mulvaney to be exceptionally irritating, and not even for the issue of being trans. Like I said, someday I'll get into all that, but that's for another day. My focus for this video is on Anheuser-Busch. Now, you would think that a company that has as much financially invested in the success of Bud Light as with any of its other products would make sure that they protect their interest. Now, how much money does Anheuser-Busch make off selling beer? Let me show you something real fast. I found this statistic in an article. Let me pull this up. This article is from a website called beverageindustry.com. This is for 2021 Beer Report. Beer market and state of flux as consumer preferences change. Now, it's not so much that I want to focus on as the chart that I found. Take a look at this. These are beer sales as of the end of 2020. Okay. These are the top 10 selling beers in the United States. Budweiser, $7.191 billion. Let me say it again. $7.191 billion in beer sales. Top selling beer in America. Now, as I say, you would think with that much money on the line, Anheuser-Busch would be very careful to decide what area they want to step into in their marketing campaigns, particularly a controversial subject as hot right now as transgenderism in America. Well, they've made the decision. They're going to get into this. They hired Dylan Mulvaney. And I don't even fault Dylan Mulvaney for taking the marketing contract. Dylan's got the chance to make the money. Go for it. But what kind of reaction is Budweiser getting? Well, take a look at this. There's a lot of people weighing in on this, and when the Dylan Mulvaney video broke, they weighed in fast and furious. This is an article from uprocks.com. Country singer Travis Tritt proudly declared he's boycotting Anheuser-Busch and claimed many other artists are too, but they won't admit it. We go a little further into the article. On Wednesday, April the 5th, Tritt declared he's boycotting Anheuser-Busch, writing, "I will be deleting all Anheuser-Busch products from my tour hospitality rider. I know many other artists who are doing the same." He added, "Other artists who are deleting Anheuser-Busch products from their hospitality rider might not say so in public for fear of being ridiculed and canceled. I have no such fear." Now, lest you say that this is just one person, take a look at this. This comes from Breitbart. John Rich's latest country star to dump Bud Light after trans Dylan Mulvaney deal. What should I replace it with? Country music star John Rich has added his name to the growing list of performers boycotting Anheuser-Busch for signing transgender activist, Joe Biden supporter, and TikTok icon Dylan Mulvaney to a lucrative endorsement deal centered on its Bud Light beer. The Progress singer took to social media to ask, "What beer should my bar in Nashville replace Bud Light with?" Rich joined the boycott movement on the same day fellow country icon Travis Tritt told fans he was parting ways with Anheuser-Busch. This reaction is fast and furious. Now, as stringent and as strong as these statements are, it wasn't anything like what Kid Rock did. If you haven't heard about that, he basically posted a video to Twitter where he set up a display of Bud Light cans, took a rifle, and shot bullets through all of it. And in typical Kid Rock fashion, he told Anheuser-Busch what it could go do with itself. Now, some of you out there might be saying, well, these are just some country musicians and a rock star. You know, what does it mean for the guy, you know, with the house and the white picket fence? What's his reaction to it? Well, not as good as you might think. I'm going to show you a video. This was posted on a Twitter page belonging to a gentleman named Chuck Calesto. And this is, now I'm going to set this up. The gentleman in the video is a local distributor in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. I deduced that much by some of the insignia on his clothing. But I want you to take a listen to what he has to say regarding all this. So give me just 1 second and we will play this for you. Take a listen to this.
I work for an affiliate company. I'm a merchandiser, and the sole product of the company I work for is Anheuser-Busch products. So with all this canceling going on, I've never seen such little sales in this past few days on these products. And it's sad because when people don't buy this beer, I don't make money, and I can't feed my family. So it's kind of heartbreaking, I guess, that Anheuser-Busch did what they did. They don't know their clientele. So it's kind of heartbreaking. Thanks, Anheuser-Busch. I may not be able to feed my family coming up here soon.
Boy, he said a mouthful. Anheuser-Busch does not know their clientele. You would think that for all the marketing genius that a beer company like Anheuser-Busch has demonstrated over the years, they would know very good and well who buys their product and who doesn't. There are videos like this popping up all over the internet. I saw one just today where a gentleman walked into 2 different places in his house where he's got refrigerators, pulled out every can of Bud Light, took it, threw it in the trash can, and replaced it with Coors. Videos like that, videos of local distributors, local beer and wine shops, guys like this, they're popping up everywhere. There is an adverse reaction going on to what Bud Light has done with this campaign with Dylan Mulvaney. Now, how profound is it going to be? We're not going to know for a few weeks and months, but I'll tell you right now, the reaction is visceral, and it is not in Budweiser's favor. But then again, you would think they would have learned from history. What am I getting at? I'll explain in just a second. Now, I said a moment ago, you would think that Anheuser-Busch would have learned a long time ago, be very careful when it comes to marketing and who you use to market your product. If you are wondering what I'm referring to, take a look at this. This is an article from Breitbart. And laying aside Breitbart's ideological tendencies, notice what the headline says. Anheuser-Busch hires America haters Seth Rogen and Amy Schumer to push beer in a Super Bowl ad. This was from back in January of 2016. This was 7 years ago. We read into the article, Super Bowl 50 is just a few weeks away, and European-owned Anheuser-Busch has enlisted liberal Hollywood America haters Seth Rogen and Amy Schumer to pitch the company's Bud Light brand in a new ad. The Associated Press reported Wednesday that advertisers are playing up celebrity cameos online to generate buzz for their brands, although among those brands is Anheuser-Busch, which was sold to Belgian brewer InBev in 2008 for $52 billion. While the former American company's iconic Clydesdales will still tout Budweiser beer for the big game, left-wing stars Seth Rogen and Amy Schumer will promote the country's most popular beverage to middle America. People both comedians have reviled and mocked. Go a little further into the article. Last January, Rogen raged over the success of Clint Eastwood's patriotic Iraq War film American Sniper, which is based on the life of famed SEAL sniper Chris Kyle. American Sniper kind of reminds me of the movie that's showing in the third act of Inglourious Bastards. And it goes on to a little further, and we read about some of Amy Schumer's own comments. Meanwhile, anti-gun feminist and alleged joke stealer Amy Schumer has also made her contempt for the plight of the everyday American known. On October 10th, Schumer, who has the luxury of personal security, appeared in a Saturday Night Live skit to mock women and families who use guns for sport and self-defense. Schumer has also specifically targeted male-centric beer advertisements on her Comedy Central show. Unbothered by Schumer's contempt for its target demographic, Anheuser-Busch decided the comedian was the right fit to help introduce Bud Light's new packaging and logo. They're current and they're relevant, Bud Light Vice President Alexander Lambrick said of Rogen and Schumer, so they were the perfect spokespeople to bring us back to the brand's humor. Now, This was 7 years ago, and you have to ask yourself the question, well, Front Porch, okay, how did that really turn out? Watch this. This article is from Breitbart as well, and it is from October of 2016, so roughly 10 months after that first report we read. Notice the headline, Bud Light pulls plug on Amy Schumer, Seth Rogen ad campaign as sales drop. We read into the article, Anheuser-Busch InBev, the parent company of brand Bud Light, has pulled the company's Amy Schumer, Seth Rogen starring Bud Light Party television advertisements weeks ahead of schedule as sales of the beer declined in the third quarter. Adweek reports that AB InBev pulled the ads, quote, a little earlier than expected, though a spokesperson for the brewer said the ad campaign was always scheduled to end in the fall. The campaign, which launched just before the Super Bowl earlier this year, features the Canadian actor and Inside Amy Schumer comedian urging Americans to join a mock Bud Light political party in a play on this year's presidential race. One advertisement in the campaign, called, quote, Equal Pay, received a strong negative reaction online. In it, the pair decry the gender wage gap, while Schumer plugs the beer by proffering it costs the same whether you're a dude or a lady. The comment section beneath the YouTube video of that ad has since been disabled. Quote, despite continued positive signs in brand health evolution driven by millennial and Hispanics, third quarter was the softest performance of Bud Light for the year from a volume and share perspective. Bud Light Senior Director of Marketing Communications Lisa Wesser told Adweek, the Bud Light Party campaign helped us improve these brands' attributes, but it did not translate into improved volume and share performance. While we are clearly not satisfied with Bud Light's performance, we are already leveraging what we've learned to develop and execute new work. Let me translate that for you, ladies and gentlemen. In simple language, we hired a couple of people that most people don't like because they sit around and bash the values of the very people we're trying to get to buy our beer, and after we realized that these two nitwits are tanking our sales, we pulled the plug on the ad campaign. I think that fairly sums it up. This was 7 years ago. You would think the marketing department for Anheuser-Busch would have the good sense to realize, we probably ought not to put people out there that are going to piss off the very people we want to buy our product. But sure enough, they've done it again. And by the way, Anheuser-Busch isn't the only company that's doing this. There are others that keep promoting to a demographic that, I hate to tell them this, is not going to help them financially. No offense, but if you think the trans community is going to see one of their own drinking Bud Light and they're all going to run to the stores and just gobble up every can of Anheuser-Busch's Bud Light that they can get their hands on, you are crazier than a Christmas fruitcake. Anheuser-Busch is playing to a demographic. They're trying to earn the good graces of the woke SJW crowd for their own financial benefit. Well, so that sort of begs the question. Is Bud Light really proud of its work? Is Anheuser-Busch standing strong behind this Dylan Mulvaney campaign? Well, take a look at this. To give you an idea of how much and how in love Anheuser-Busch is, here's their response to it. This is from the New York Post. Bud Light goes silent on social media after Dylan Mulvaney partnership. We read further into this article. Bud Light has remained silent on social media following the announcement from transgender social media influencer Dylan Mulvaney regarding a partnership sparked conservative outrage and calls for boycotts. Bud Light has not posted on Instagram to its 377,000 followers since March 30th, and the brand's 311,000 Twitter followers have not seen any posts since April the 1st. Additionally, the beer brand has not posted to its over 7.5 million Facebook followers since March 30th. Ladies and gentlemen, again, let me translate. Anheuser-Busch realizes they just stepped in it. This campaign is only 8 days old, and already there is a backlash that's going all across the country. Talks of boycotts. And when it gets to the point that the consuming public is ready to just wash their hands of your product, you have a major problem on your hands. Now, my prediction, Now, the times are a little different. It's been 7 years, and again, a lot of things have changed. But trust me, if this campaign does to the sales of Bud Light what I think it's going to do, Anheuser-Busch is going to pull the plug on this as fast as they possibly can. All right, they'll cut the check to Dylan Mulvaney. They'll pay Dylan for the work that's been done, and after that, they're going to try and get out of this as fast as they can. Because you give it a few weeks and a few months of taking the kind of hit in terms of advertising, word of mouth that Anheuser-Busch is taking right now, and this is going to hurt. And an economy that's already going into a downturn, Anheuser-Busch does not need this. But I guarantee you, they've got to play this out as long as they can, and when they realize they've played it out as far as it will go, they're going to get off of this thing. Now, one last point to make, and I found this fascinating. This is a great article. And this is a message to the trans community, because I'm going to show you folks out there in the trans community something, and this ought to make your blood boil. You know, you think that Anheuser-Busch is, partnering with you, and they're standing up with you and your values, everything else, and they're being progressive and inclusive and everything else. You just take a listen to this. This is an article from Outkick.com. Headline: Bud Light makes trans TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney its newest spokesperson. I want to go to the latter part of this article because the author, named Amber Harding, makes an absolutely fascinating point. Listen to this. Turns out making fun of women is highly profitable. In November, the Daily Mail reported Mulvaney was set to make $1 million in endorsement deals in 2022 alone. Last month, Mulvaney celebrated his 365 days of womanhood, and to commemorate the occasion, Bud Light gifted him a special can with his face on it. Meanwhile, I have been a female for 12,479 days. No one is making beer cans with my face on them or giving me money just for existing. I'll never get to sit down with the president of the White House, and Drew Barrymore will never drop to her knees in front of me. I'm at peace with that. Now here's the part that the trans community really needs to hear. The author, Amber Harding, writes, What I am not okay with, though, is the absolute mockery of my gender for Dylan's financial gain. Trans community is probably hearing that saying, so what's the big deal? If brands like Bud Light truly cared about the transgender community, they'd find more trans spokespeople, not just the one who has 10.8 million TikTok followers, and they donate to LGBTQ causes instead of Republican candidates and conservative PACs. And yes, I looked up Anheuser-Busch's political contributions. Trans community, pay attention, because here it comes. This comes from OpenSecrets.com. This is a listing of contributions in 2022 that Anheuser-Busch gave out. You want to know who they gave their money to? You want to find out just how inclusive they are? How much they're partnering with the LGBTQ community? Yeah, take a look at this. $514,000 National Republican Senatorial Committee. $464,000 National Republican Congressional Committee. Save Missouri Values, $250,000. Republican National Committee, $200,000. GoPac, $129,000. Conservative Louisiana, $100,000. Show Me Values PAC, $100,000. Wisconsin Truth PAC, $44,000. Oh, they finally started giving money to Democrats, by the way. DNC Service Corp, $40,000. Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee, $35,000. For you folks out there in the trans community, I got bad news for you. Anheuser-Busch is playing you. They're playing you for fools. They're trying to have this thing both ways. They're trying to stand with you and say, we're inclusive, we care about you, we're going to put one of your own on one of our cans of our product, and we're going to show you just how much we believe in diversity and how much we believe in the trans movement. And on the other hand, they're giving money to Republicans left and right. Now, for my part, who Anheuser-Busch gives money to politically is up to them. But I just thought you might want to be aware of what they're doing to you. You're being played. Just like Conservative Americans are being played by Anheuser-Busch. Played's probably not the right word. It's better to say you're being played. Conservative Americans who buy Anheuser-Busch's product are being ignored and their values are being stepped on. So both sides have a reason to really dislike this company. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to find something else to drink. Do me some favors as I wrap this up. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, hit the thumbs up, spread the video around. Thanks for stopping by the Electronic Front Porch. My name is Brian Trippett. As always, I'm your Front Porch Conservative, and I'll see you next time.